What's good, everybody? Welcome to the channel. I am Monk Dan. Thank you for being on the road with me. As you see, I'm in my hotel room, but I really appreciate you for tuning in with me. On my channel, this is what I do on this channel. I seek and share wisdom through philosophy. That is right. So I take ideas, share ideas, and we gain wisdom from them. Here's one thing that I guarantee you that you have not heard. Christians created Baphomet.
God damn!
I know you probably be like, man, what is this? What is this guy talking about, man? That's right. Christians were the creators of Baphomet. People do not talk about that. People won't talk about it. But yes, Christians are the creators of Baphomet. So before we even get into it, we're not going to talk about God. We're going to keep all the religion, well, the heavy religious aspect. We're not here to talk about God, and we're not here to talk about Jesus.
Jesus said and Jesus went. Oh, yeah. Jesus heard and Jesus walked over. Oh, yeah. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Yeah. Jesus. Well, I don't want to talk about Jesus this evening.
We're not here to talk about Jesus. We're talking about you Christians are the creators of Baphomet. What do I mean? All right, so check it. I'm reading this book right here, Baphomet, and the author is Michael Osiris Snuffin, right? I did a stream on as much as I could in depth about the subject, so I won't go too heavy or too deep into it. But how about this? I'll give you just a quick synopsis of what the hell I'm talking about, right? So check it. Back way back in the day, centuries, way many centuries ago, right? You had the Muslim Turks fighting against the Christians. The Muslim Turks were beating their ass, whooping their ass, right? So much so that there were 9 guys who got together and they call themselves the Templars. So these guys get together, 9 guys, and they set out to say that they were going to fight the Muslims and take back their land, right? The critical thing about these guys was that they proclaimed to be broke. So they started this group, this militia, if you will, whatever you want to call it. They started this group to fight the Muslims. So these guys said, "Hey, we're gonna be broke. We're gonna live in poverty, and we're not gonna have sex, right? We're gonna fight because we want to get our land back, right?" So they start a small group, and eventually people recognize them, and then they become this popular group, if you will. So people start sending them money, and now they're becoming tax collectors. I mean, people giving them land, you name it, right? So that's besides the point. It's I have to share that because it's very critical that we know um, um, about this group. And the reason why I say that is because I have to include that they become wealthy. And with wealth, we already know women. So they weren't broke. And then women gonna come where the success is, where the money is. We know that. All right. Anyway, so I say all that to say that they got some jealous people, and they got people, religious people, Christians. They had haters in amongst them, right? And with this jealousy, you have these guys. Let me backtrack just for a quick second. So there was I believe the guy's name is King Philip. That's who the hater was, right? This guy was hating on him, but he wasn't hating on them on the fighting aspect of getting killing the Muslims. He wasn't fighting from that aspect. He was fighting, or he was jealous of them to get the access to their funds, the money, right? Even in spite of all of that, these guys becoming wealthy and whatnot, they weren't fighting shit. They weren't killing. I mean, they may have killed some folks, but they still were losing. So much so that it got to one point in their battles that they lost this one pivotal part of Jerusalem, I believe, and these guys, everybody kind of turned on them, if you will. But then it was that King Philip who wanted to be a part of the Templars, and then this guy he kind of infiltrates their background or whatever you want to call it, their group, and he kind of sends a puppet to destroy them. Right? I said all that to say to lead you up to how they created Baphomet. So you got King Philip hating on them, and then you got the guy. He sends a puppet. I forgot the guy's name, but he sends a puppet because they had to follow the Pope's orders. So they send this guy in there, and now he's making these charges, trumped up charges, right, against the Templars, right? So now these guys are getting tortured by the guy that the puppet guy and King Philip. So they bring up these charges, right? And they're not just bringing them up; they're torturing these guys for whatever fucking reason. They're just torturing these guys, right? So in the midst of their torturing these guys, they're telling these guys, "Hey, tell us where the money is," and all of this good stuff. And so these guys, in the midst of being tortured, they create these ideas, these scenarios. They create this right here. They create Baphomet. So they're coming up with all these things, saying, well, it's while I got you here, let's just come. Let me read some of the text for you. I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but let's talk about some of the text since it is here. So some of the things that we're hearing is that they're confessing that the nature of the worship of idols or heads is, which we get to see, is the Baphomet. And so they're just saying these things because they don't want to be tortured. And so you also have the people who are torturing them making these false claims as well. They're saying these things, that they worship those idols or that idol in the particular in their general chapters or gatherings. They're also saying that they worshipped it or them, that they worship it or them as God, that they worship it or them as Savior, that some of them did, that the majority of them did, that they said that the head could save them, that they made it rich, that it gave them all their riches, that it made the soil bring forth seeds, that it made the trees flower. So they're saying all these things. The people that are torturing them, they're saying, well, that's how you got rich. It's not because you believe or whatever. It's because it's this, the Baphomet, right? So the people that's getting tortured, they're making excuses, saying, yeah, it's the head, it's this. They didn't really have a name. They didn't say Baphomet at the particular name. I'm trying to get some more context for you to make my argument here. And let's see. All right, so let's talk about the articles. Let's just do that. So it says there were 127 articles of accusation drawn up in 1309, charged the Templars with communicating or committing many common acts or heresy acts, or what's another word? Blasphemy, if you will, such of denying Christ, defiling the cross, profaning the sacrament, and engaging in sodomy. These are the things that they're bringing forth, the accusations, right, of why these guys, these Templars, are, if you will, are these are the reasons that they're making up here. Now, in the midst of this, these are the descriptions that these guys are given. Descriptions of this head or heads gleaned from confessions vary considerably because the heads probably never existed. Extensive searches of Templar precipitors found no idols or heads. Tortured Templars simply described whatever their inquisitors wanted to hear. So whatever they wanted to hear, they just said some shit, right? They venerated a bearded head or three heads made out of wood or gold or silver. It had no legs or four legs. It took the shape of a demon or a cat. Unfortunately, these erratic confessions, completely unreliable, have often served as the basis of historical fantasy and conspiracy theories regarding the Templars. Right? So these guys are these guys are getting tortured, and they're just coming up with shit to say. And these guys that are doing the torturing, they wanted to hear this stuff. So you got the guys that are being tortured who who are saying these things just to please the people who are the torturers, if you will. So you got two Christians. You got both are Christians, right? One Christian group, one Christian group is saying all of these things. They're creating these things because the people who are torturing them want to hear it. So, however you want to dice it, whether you believe it or not, the Christians created this whole fiasco of Baphomet. I took you all through this whole round. I just wanted to give some context here that it was the Christians who created this. So when we hear these ideas of Baphomet and we hear it in a negative light, we never hear that the Christians created this. These whimsical ideas of Baphomet. It was originated by the Christian faith. Do we hold those guys accountable? Did you even know that? Do you acknowledge that Christians created this idea? You know what? I got a video. I'm not going to be too long. This is going to be a short video. If you want to check out the full video that I created that has so much more details about the Christians and their creation of Baphomet, feel free to hear it. And it's on my channel. I labeled it as the Templars, the tortured Templars. So check it out. But I do want to share an example of what I mean about how Baphomet is always depicted in a negative light, right? And you don't hear about the creators being Christian, right? So check it out. I got this video. It's a small video, and shout out to Cat Williams. He was on a Joe Rogan podcast, and I didn't hear the full video, but this part just stuck out, and it's like a snippet from the podcast, and he mentions Baphomet, and he also mentions the transgenderism aspect of this. So let's check it out.
So I knew that in the ritual of Baphomet, the transgender, to show allegiance to him, you had to kiss his ass ring.
He talks about the transgenders, but he doesn't mention Christians creating Baphomet. So he's talking about it in a negative light. He's not talking about it in a pleasant manner. He's talking about transgenders and their relationship to Baphomet. Now I don't know how far he's reading, or he may not have read my text here. This book here, he may not have read that. Now, one thing that he's somewhat correct about is the relationship with transgender and Baphomet. He is correct about that. Well, from the aspect of there being transgender involved with Baphomet. And it's not what he's depicting it as. He's talking about kissing rings and all of this. I haven't gotten that far in this text. I've only read the introduction and chapter 1, but it's introducing us to the creation of Baphomet and how it came about. So far, what he has depicted, Baphomet, is not being presented here. All right. So let me see if I can find the portion that I wanted to address. Please bear with me 1 second here. let's see. I'm going to read a few pieces here. I'm going to gather some information here for you and what Baphomet is associated with. Baphomet is primarily associated with nature, the five elements, alchemy, and sexuality. And since we're talking about sexuality, let me find the portion that calls up to order right here. It says, and I'll read a portion of it. It says, before I reveal the mysteries of Baphomet, here are a few final notes. Among other things, the figure of Baphomet represents the entire spectrum of gender identity and gender expression. So here we get to talk about the transgenderism, but we also get to talk about, in our culture, now it's a really big, heavy thing about the pronouns, them, they, and all those good things. But in our world, we don't have a explanation, right? This text kind of gives us an explanation of these pronouns that are being used, right? So that's the association with Baphomet. And it says, for this reason, I use they, them, their pronouns when referring to Baphomet, capitalized because they refer to a deity. So in essence, that is the relationship of Baphomet. So I'm not sure where Cat Williams got all of this talking about kissing a ring and all of this. Even in the video before that, he started talking about, and someone put a little picture up how in the entertainment industry, how guys have to wear a dress. You saw some of that video. You may have, but I just didn't see how that related to the actual facts of Baphomet. So, but I'll go more into deep understanding about Baphomet, and I would love to share that with you. But for the facts, the fun facts, Baphomet was created by Christians, and it was created in a sense, or it was in a desperation of the person or the people being tortured. They were saying it in a desperation of duress, if you will. Meanwhile, they were saying what the people who were torturing them wanted to hear. So, however you want to spin it, whether you were on the side of the tortured or the torchee, the person being tortured, it was all created by the goddamn Christians. I don't know, man. Let me know what you think about that. It's a very weird twist, and no one really mentions that aspect of Baphomet. So yeah, man, I'll be back home soon, I guess. I'm still on the road, and I just want to make that quick drop of information for you. So in the meantime, man, I appreciate you for checking out the video. Hit the like button for me, send me some comments, man, and subscribe, baby. With all that being said, peace. And man, this world is crazy, man. Whether you believe in Baphomet or not, we got a lot of stuff going on. We got AI, we got all kinds of craziness, man. UBI might be coming on the way. There might not be no Social Security. Man, it's crazy out here. But with all that being said, fellas, man, treat yourself, be kind to yourself, man, because nobody's going to do it for you, man. All right? Peace.